once you get into that conditional thing, man, it's, my thing is, okay, you do wrong, you get punished. All right, even a convicted felon at some point serves his sentence and gets out. Maybe does some probation, whatever. But in this, I mean, it's like, I even called and I was like, well, what do we do? And well, I spoke to another consultant before we latched on with the one we ended up hiring, and he said, well, the best I can do for you is get you a non-rateable review. And I was like, well, I don't want that. I want a satisfactory. He said, oh, it's no different. I said, I don't care. I said, we want satisfactory, but we want to be satisfactory and know that we got it. I mean, we're small. We like it though. Sure. All my customers will tell you we're not the cheapest. We're never going to be the cheapest. But if you are the cheapest and you ever let me get my toe in the door at your customer, they'll be my customer because we're going to beat your britches off on service. Yeah. And I mean, that's where me being able to drive, or my brother being able to drive, or my dad being able to drive, that really comes into play. A couple weeks ago, a customer just down the road about 20 miles in Gallup, and hey, so-and-so didn't show up to pick up this load, I don't know what I'm going to do, can y'all come get it, and in 30 minutes, I'm down there with a truck and trailer, Up until the conditional, we were, I guess, we never earned, or felt like we really earned our satisfactory rating. We just got lucky. The conditional, we deserved it. Okay. We did. We paid the $10,000 fine, we deserved it. But yesterday, knowing that we were going to be upgraded to satisfactory, we earned that one as a company. Our drivers, our girls here in the office, they worked their butts off. So I felt like yesterday we really did earn. I guess it was probably I'd say March, April of last year. Mitch and I just started talking about it. What if we just go e-logs? The two things: log not current and form and manner. Those are the two easiest citations you can give a roadside inspector. Because as soon as he opens it, either A, you haven't touched your logbook, and if you have, and you haven't done your form and manner, you just did his work for him. I mean, my philosophy always was, I'm going to have it filled out. I'm going to have the form and manner correct. Now, if he gets down with the calculator and puts pencil to paper and nails me on my grid down here, hey, you got me, I'll take my ticket. But I'm not going to do his work for him. It's kind of like riding around with a flat tire or a light out. You might as well have a big sign over your truck saying, come inspect me. Now, if he has to pull out the creeper and he goes under my truck and he finds a brake tube, chafing on wheel position 3 or something, you got me, But I'm not going to give him anything. My brother and I, we were talking about e-logs and like, man, this is a huge step, because there's a mindset among carriers that you got to skirt the regulations to make any money. And I don't care what they say, I don't care what their mouth says, 90% of them, that's the way they think and that's the way they operate. We did it for 18 years. And when he and I first sat down and started talking e-logs, we're like, man, what are we going to say to Dad? He's going to flip out, there's no way. And we'd always been, we're not going to have Qualcomm. If I can't trust the driver, tell me where he's at. We don't need him working for us. And, I'm not just saying Qualcomm, anyone. A small carrier should jump on it with both feet, adopt the e-logs, the Qualcomm, Omnitrax, whatever. Even without the e-log, is a huge money-saving tool for a carrier. Whatever we spent nearly $20,000 up front, just buying the equipment and installing it. The $40 a month per unit subscription fee. We more than save that every month, just, cutting down on out-of-route miles. Obviously, the enforcement, you don't have to, that's gone. Our drivers don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about it. I felt kind of funny. I was at a shipper one day and I was talking, listening to some drivers talk, and, I try to recruit a little bit, if I see a guy's not happy with where he's at. And I was talking to a driver, and he just said, how do y'all run? I just sat there and I thought for a minute, and I was like, man, this feels weird to say. We run legal. we had to change our operation fundamentally. A dispatcher on paper logs can kind of make a mistake, and a driver can kind of make up for it on paper. That goes away. You can't do that anymore. So we had to change the way we operate, and you know, now there's a lot more, you know, relaying loads that normally you wouldn't have relayed before. But you know, you're still delivering on time. You're still picking up on time. The workload on the dispatchers doubled, but it took pressure off the drivers. And we keep an eye on their hours from our computers and everything, but we push them to keep an eye on it and to communicate with us. You know, let us know. And we always try to book. We always book ahead, but we always try to keep the driver aware of what not only this load he's on is, but what his next load is. At least what his next load, so that he can plan today. Well, look, you know, I really need to, you know, wring it out of these 11 driving hours today, because tomorrow, you know, and just trip planning really. A driver that's weak on trip planning is really going to tell on him.
Right.
But a driver that's always been good with trip planning, he can make it work to his benefit.
Okay.
When we first adopted it, before we installed the very first units, of course we have our quarterly safety meetings, and we sat the guys down. We had breakfast out for them and everything. We let them eat, and we had the safety consultant that we ended up hiring. He was there, and we let him do a CSA presentation, because even then we had some people who had never heard of it, had no clue what CSA 2010 was or what it was about. And after that, you know, we just told them, you know, like, look, you know, this is where we're at. You know, this is where we got to get, and this is how we think we're going to get there. And we asked for volunteers. I said, we're going to install 3 units, and I'm looking for 3 volunteers. And we went as far as to tell them, we will guarantee you that your money will not suffer. We will guarantee you that we won't leave you out on the road for a 34-hour restart. And if by some ungodly chance you are hung out on the road for a 34-hour restart, we're going to pay you for sitting there. So we had 3 volunteers pop up just immediately, and we took off from there. And I'm telling you, man, just, you know, the first week, you know, you kind of fumbling around with your eyes closed trying to figure out everything. But after about a week, maybe 2, it started clicking. You know, Mitch and I were like, man, what we're going to do? I said, speed it up. Let's just go ahead and do it. I mean, man, if we're going to do it, just jump in with both feet. I mean, it's going to be sink or swim. And we felt like that's where we were as a company anyway. Our insurance agent, Brands Insurance, they keep this guy on retainer. And they were like, look, guys, you know, we know you're conditional now, and they've known us, man, for 20 years now. And they're like, we're going to help you. You know, I got this guy, I keep him on retainer. Customer has trouble, I send him in on my dime. So they sent him down here, they paid for it. He came down, we talked, he took a look at what we had. He actually had come in about the time we were talking about e-logs. So he was here when we kind of started making the transition. And even he couldn't believe that we just went full bore, you know. And I just felt like, look, man, we got to go for it. He came down probably 3 or 4 times over the past year, you know. The first time he came down, he came to our first safety meeting, did the CSA 2010 presentation, and the guys, you know, reacted well to him, and he didn't dumb stuff down and talk down to him. I mean, he just put it out there in plain English, you know, where anybody could understand it. But he didn't do it in a manner that would make somebody be offended, you know, like he thinks we're stupid, you know. I mean, and he reacted well with our drivers, and we liked that, because man, they're people, you know. They bust their butts up and down the damn road doing what nobody else wants to do,
right?
And they don't get the respect they deserve, either in or outside the industry. But after that, you know, he started working with Courtney in our office in here. About formulating our safety plan and whatnot, and he started contacting Mr. Deerberger, kind of getting a feel for what exactly he was looking for, you know, what it was going to take. And I don't think Mr. Deerberger laid it out on a platter for him, but, you know, he kind of gave him some indications of what he would like to see. which Jeff, you know, he said from the get-go that the fact that we were voluntarily going to electronic logs, he thought was going to be our saving grace, because he felt like in this climate with the DOT, you know, and at that time, even then, there had already been talk about the mandate coming. He felt like, you know, we were setting ourselves up to kind of be the poster child for what they wanted to see happen. So through all that, I think it was last October, I was actually out at a customer picking up a load, and Jeff called me and we were talking. He's like, he said, man, that deer burger's something else, you know. He just, you know, I don't know. And, you know, he said, I told him we were e-logs now, and, you know, he starts talking about, well, you know, there's this abuse and that abuse, and trucking companies are doing this and that, and drivers are doing this and that. So what we did is we focused on what Mr. Deerberger had told Jeff were his concerns about electronic logs. We focused on that to make sure that we weren't guilty of those things, and that we were policing those things ourselves. And of course, the beauty of electronic logs is there's electronic records of everything.